So most people live with an outdated childhood notion about themselves and their environments. And this is super important, right? And so when we understand that it's about our relationship with ourselves, this is where it usually takes us. These outdated notions about how the world is supposed to work and how we're supposed to show up in the world. Can you advance it for me? Well, let me see if this is, oh, I got it. Thanks. Oh, I think we both advanced it. There we go. Here are some examples of some outdated notions that we have been living with for a long time. And just raise your hand if you could identify you. I don't want to know which one it is, but if you can say like, oh yeah, mine is up there, then just raise your hand. Let me explain them though first. So here's what happened. Somewhere, probably before we became a teenager, we had some experiences in the world that dictated how we show up for other people before we had a chance to understand how we're supposed to show up for ourselves, right? And there's a lot of situations and families that dictate that, right? That I'm not going to talk about, get into that tonight. We talked about that a little bit last time and probably will again. But what I want us to understand is if you think about it and understand, like, how have you been showing up for people? And I mean in extremes. These are some of the notions, extremes that we live with. The way that I receive love is through achievement. The way that I receive care is by giving care to other people instead of me. That's how I earn my love in this family or in this environment, right? Conformity, as long as I'm quiet and do as I told, people will take care of me. To the degree that I don't, I'm not safe. Okay. Service, I must constantly be in service of someone or something. All right. That's how I get my self-esteem. If I'm not worth anything. Thus, people can treat me however they want. I'm always lacking, right? Invisibility, all I need to do is not be seen and I'm safe. Okay. When I'm seen, I'm not safe. So I learn to slip through the world being quiet and unseen. Silence. As long as I'm protecting people with my silence, then I'm okay. If I let go of that silence, then I'm ostracized and worthless. Okay. Or protecting. My job is to protect. Right? I must be protecting. I protect everyone. And then you take these roles outside. You grow up with them. You become adults with them. Did I get everybody's? All right. These things are connected to our survival oftentimes from childhood. They are connected to how we survived as children. But when we carry these into adulthood and hold on to them as our identities, they fail us. They fail us because we can't base relationships on these ideologies. Ultimately, when we understand that every relationship is a relationship with ourselves, we become, we move into a very deep understanding that you deserve to be loved and cared for, even if you don't protect, even if you don't achieve, even when you're not taking care of anybody. You still deserve to be loved and you still deserve to be safe. You still get to do those things. But we have to heal out of these notions that this is the only way or this is the way that we must show up in the world. Okay. So how do we get there from here? Internal alignment supports all relationships, right? Again, checking in with yourself about what did I believe in the world that made me make that decision that I now know was a very bad decision because it's not turning out well for me. What's the constant decision that you keep making that's not turning out for you? Like, what's the belief around that repetitive action? Right? And really beginning to understand so that you have this internal alignment between your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. It takes a long time. This is not a day's work at all. This is a life journey. It's a life journey. How do I get closer and closer to alignment where my thoughts and my behaviors and actions are so consistent and I'm so in love with all of me, not the me that I present here when I go to work, but when I say I love me, I mean all of me. And there's an alignment there. Not I love the part of me that I'm showing, but not the part that I'm not showing, right? So that's really where the work is.